right? Putting on record. Now, as we learning from the previous session from last week, we learned about after the Buddha has fulfilled, has found his wisdom, profiled himself, the knowledge to become Buddha, or what you call in Buddhahood, the title as well. He want to fulfill his promise to the king during the time when he's searching for enlightenment. And thus, to fulfill his promise, he has went back to the town of Maghadda, the kingdom of Maghadda, meeting King Bimbisara and also teaching the wisdom to the king and his followers. So in the end, as it is, King Bimbisara had attained the first level of enlightenment and offered the Buddha Veruvana forest as the first Buddhist monastery at the time, which is so vast and wide, can accommodate at the very least 100,000 people at the time when they come. So as the monks enjoy themselves in the peaceful silence of these forests, reside on each tree as their home, the Buddha himself has falling further and further, okay? Further himself in what they call, you all right, April? Hope you're all right. Okay. They found that when the Buddha teaching further, the wide knowledge, the people talking, so that's the people who come after to learn from him are Venerable Sariputta or Venerable Moggallana, who used to name Kolita and Upatissa, respectively. When they came with their friends, about 500, come learn from the Buddha, and soon they also enlightenment and become Buddhist monk in Buddhism. And that's where we left off from last week. So continue from that. Many of you may be wondering, many people who have not studied Buddhism further, they may be just wondering, the Buddha ran away from palace, searching himself enlightenment. What about his wife and his son, his parents? So that's we're gonna come talking about that today. As it is, many years has passed since the Buddha himself has searched for enlightenment and become Buddha, and that took about 6 years past. As he started spreading his knowledge, it took about a few months after that, about 6 months after that. And so after his reputation began to spread from the people who have traveled far and far, learning about the current situation going on in the kingdom of Maghadda, which is one of the greatest kingdom in the time. And so the title, the Buddha, has been widespread and reaching his father home. So that's his father sent the messenger to the Buddha. The first one came, meeting the Buddha, listen to the Dhamma, and inspire. So they wished to ordain and become Buddhist monk, and they forgot their mission. So they did not return because they do not have the duty to fulfill any longer, because they are Buddhist monk. They are no longer soldier or messenger to the king. So the first messenger has been disappeared without any trace or news. The king sent another messenger, and the same thing happened. The second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the ninth, until reaching the 10th. At this time, the 10th one, the king himself found in trouble. I want to meet my son, but all of them has been failing the mission, thus unable to relay the message. Now in this session, in this situation, the king choose the 10th, the last one that he has in his resources, that he chose one of the close friends of Siddhartha when the Buddha was the prince at the time. It is said that this messenger name was Udayi. In his background a little bit, he like to talk on that is he was born on the same day, same time as Prince Siddhartha. So that's the king thought that if he sent someone close to his son, maybe they can receive the message. But because the knowledge and wisdom of the Buddha has been widespread, so Udayitha said this to the king, said that, my lord, if you're sending me, can you grant me two permissions? One, if I like to ordain, please allow me to ordain. Second, I will surely come back to you when I ordain. Basit asked permission. So the king said, all right, as long as you're coming back, I am okay with every condition. Something similar to this. So he went back and meet the Buddha. Before he gonna do anything else or listen to the Buddha's teaching, said, Master, I like to relay the message to you from your father, that he would love to invite you to come back to home to teach him to meet your family. So the Buddha found that maybe this is the time. It takes some time already, and he think that it is the right time for him to return. So does he accept the invitation? Then after learning the Buddha's wisdom, Buddhayi also ordained as the Buddhist monk, and thus the Buddha, when with his monk and followers, returned to his kingdom. When all the monks leave their monastery, returned to the kingdom, his own kingdom, his father come to him on the first to welcome on the first day. He said he didn't know the custom of the Buddhist monk. So when the Buddha went for alms round on the first morning after he has arrived, the king could not stand by the side, because in his bloodline the kings never begged anyone for food. So when he saw the Buddha went for alms round, he went to instruct his son right away, like you saw in the picture. Said, my son, what have you done to tend our family? We never begged for food from anyone before. But the Buddha said, behold, your majesty, this is the tradition of my bloodline. What he meant bloodline is that the traditions of Buddha, that the Buddhas will go for alms round for food, not like not in the that imply that he is no longer in the royal family. He is in the Buddha traditions. And so when the king understands this, all right, when from now on, since you are here, please go to my palace to receive the food as your alms round. So that's on the first day after he went to the palace. Of course, when he went to the palace for the alms round, his family, his wife, everyone's, except his wife, his family, his cousin, everyone, his relative, they do not respect the Buddha because they saw that Buddha belonged to an outcast. He is not the royal family anymore. So the Buddha realized that they are not be ready to teach. So that he showed his power to them. Finally, they realized that Siddhartha are no longer normal person. So that they begin to show respect. And after learning the wisdom from the Buddha at that time, his father attained the first level of enlightenment as well. And that's how the story goes. But what about his wife and his son that I just mentioned earlier? Yes, we're gonna get to that part. And so, when offering the meal to the Buddha asked his father, what happened to Princess? He didn't call her princess, he just called her Bimba. And they went to fetch her, but the princess said that if Siddhartha or if the Buddha still love me and care for me, he should come to see me himself, not I go see him. Realize that the Buddha realized something, that his wife is the one that has really giving him opportunity so much for him to go find the knowledge or wisdom. So that's it is appropriate for him to go meet her. So yes, he went to meet her, and then teaching her the Buddhist wisdom that he had learned. She also realized the wisdom That's become the first level of enlightenment too. But at that time, there is no woman Buddhist monk yet. So that she did not request for ordination. But she also mentioned to him that after he had left, she never met any man, and she does not sleep on the floor at all. She does not sleep on the bed. She only sleep on the floor, practice herself celibacy. And also, she also brought him the son and said that, son, your father has returned. Now go ask him for permission to receive the heritage that is rightfully belong to you. So when his son went to see the Buddha for the first time, yes, he asked Buddha, or said father, depend on how the text explained at the time, that could you please give me your heritage, what rightfully belong to me. The Buddha realized that his son is also having the chance to also enlighten. So he said, son, I have a lot of heritage that I will be giving to you that will be suitable for you as well. So that's, he taught the wisdom, and then his son become enlightened and request for ordinations. And so he ordained his son as the Buddhist novice and become the first novice by assign his chief right hand disciple, Venerable Sariputta, to be the teaching monk for his son. But when happened to ordain like this, there would be no one to continue the family bloodline and heritage and the kingdom and the throne. So by this, having this, when it's the responsibility belong to next in the bloodline to receive the throne is his brother. Now his brother, his name is Nanda. Okay, and this Nanda, well, he about to get married as well at the time. When the Buddha left the palace, he loved Siddhartha, or his brother, very much because they were very close. So he followed the Buddha back to the monastery where he stayed at the time. The Buddha asked, Nanda, what are your business here? What are your business here? You follow me around like this. Would you like to ordain? When he said like this, Nanda, he loved Buddha, his brother, very much. He don't have a feeling that to reject the request. So he said, yes, I like to ordain. So that's the Buddha ordained him, just as you see in the picture. Now uncle and son ordained together. Now his father is in trouble because when all the people who supposed to access the throne ordained, there is no one to continue the throne. So he went to the Buddha immediately and said, my son, please give me grant one thing, one blessing from you. What is it, Your Majesty? Before, if anyone is going to request for ordination, please set the rule that they must ask permission from their parents before they ordain. So that way, their parents can also witness this event too. So the Buddha accept and thus issue the rule to the monks that if anyone gonna ordain your disciple or anyone gonna ordain in Buddhism, in my religion, one must get permission from their parents first. And that is how the rule of ordination has been issued. And thus now everyone who is going to ordain, they must get permission from their parents as the wish from the king. And so as the story goes like this, it continue on further. There are many situations that can be described along, but this is a lot of things to be mentioned. However, as time goes, when the Buddha about to leave the kingdom that his father has governed, all of the clan, they call it Sakaya clan, that now that the Buddha's son and his brother has ordained, Maybe we should send uh, our bloodline to, to ordain as well. So that way they would not blame us who are, having the relatives who is the Buddha, but no one interested at all. So that's they find someone to come, to come ordain as well. And that's when it's like this. They have selected 6 princes to be the representative to ordain in the religion of Buddha. They are Venerable Anuruddha, or not the monk yet, they call Anuruddha, Buddhiya, Ananda, Bhakkhu, Kimila, and Devadatta, who is going to be very famous in the future. And the last one, Upali. The Upali is not the prince. He is the barber. In other words, the servant for this prince. And so when all of them went to request, all of them come from the high caste system, which is the king caste, the governed class in the society at the time. But because they know that they intend to learn from the Buddha, but if they still have their pride, their ego, and their status as a way to preventing them from learning wisdom, they will not be able to gain the benefit of ordination. So all of them agree that if we can ordain, we must let someone who is lower than us ordain first, so that way we will not be having our ego and be humble. In Buddhist ordination, whoever ordained first regarded as a senior. So they all of them agree that Upali, the barber, who is not belong to the loyal caste, should ordain first. So Upali become the senior in the group. Thus, showing their humility, and also showing that they are willing to train themselves, not just because of obligation from their family bloodline. So as they are ordained, learn from the Buddha, all of them attain enlightenment except only one, which is Venerable Ananda. He only attained the first level. Oh, except Venerable Ananda and Devadatta. Devadatta did not attain any level of enlightenment, but at the very least, he had gained the knowledge, the superpower from his meditation. They call jhana power. But Ananda, first level of enlightenment, but the rest of them become enlightenment. Special too. They can use superpower as well. And all of these are living peacefully, except only Devadatta, who planning the scheme later on to overthrow the Buddha, which we had learned a lot from many previous sessions that I mentioned, whether it's gonna be in in Inner Peace Sunday, talking about Devadatta crime against the Buddha. This has been mentioned, but this just letting you know that Devadatta, who used to be Prince Siddhartha or Buddha's brother-in-law, and come from the same clan as the Buddha as well. That's one. But one of the recognizable character that worth mentioned here is Venerable Ananda. Yes, Venerable Ananda. He is also the first cousin and the close one to the Buddha as well, since they grow up together. And he also loved his brother very much. That's later on in the future, about few years after, he will be the close attendant of the Buddha. And he is very smart. Whatever he had learned from the Buddha, he always remember. And that's, yes, all of the text, all of the knowledge in the scripture are come from Venerable Ananda, because he learned everything from the Buddha. When he has become Buddha's attendant, he asked the blessing from the Buddha, one thing that whatever the Buddha had taught to someone, what and when, he must teach him too. So that way, whenever people come to ask him about what the Buddha taught, he can relay it to them if the Buddha is not available at the time. And so the Buddha grant him that permission. So now all of the teachings of the Buddha collecting in Ananda's memory. And that is how it had passed into us until now. Okay, I think that's about time. So we will continue to the last part in in the next session next week. So hopefully everyone stay tuned and happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Hopefully you have a good time. And one more thing before we end today. Yes, everyone. Some announcement last announcement for today is that upcoming full moon is continue now. We have a full moon of peace on the same Zoom session on November 18. If you are living in United States, it starts at 6:30 p.m. in LA, 8:30 p.m. in Chicago, and 9:30 p.m. in New York. These will be announced again tomorrow in our Inner Peace Sunday program. For those living on the eastern part, the time will be on November 19. In London could be inconvenient for you who living in there, so I won't recommend. But for those who living in Thailand, it will be 9:30 in Bangkok. For those who living in India, it will be 8 a.m. in the morning. For those who living in Tokyo, it will be 11:30 a.m. If you can make it, April, please come. If you can, at least join on your phone. It will be all right. So don't forget to flash your phone too if you like. And last, those who live in Sydney, it will be 1:30 p.m. after lunch. Hopefully it's all right for everyone for that time. So hopefully I would like to invite everyone to come join us on this full moon special program once a month to sending loving kindness on this Thanksgiving. And also at this time of the year, we still not escaping from COVID, but at the very least, we still experience inner peace and shower loving kindness to those who had lost their life and our family members and loved ones who still alive. So that way we can send good wish for them to stay safe and well, saving the mind for each other. So that's come join us on this full moon of peace. Don't forget to bring candle for our event so we can pass inner peace together one by one on our Zoom. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for our Buddhist knowledge joining us today. Hopefully you are all right and enjoy our inner peace time and knowledge together today. Is there any question before we part today? Now is the time. Oh, Glenda, don't worry. Yes, it's quite early, I know, but don't worry. There's still last session for Buddha story. There will be, at this time, there's still continue Buddhist knowledge every Saturday. So you can make your schedule at the time, since the time change. So that's all right. Well, Paul is enjoying himself in the temple at the moment. All right, everyone. Is there any question before we part today? Anything in regard of the Buddhism's knowledge or Buddhist knowledge that we learned today? No? Oh, well, one thing about that is, you see, for those of you who have maybe wondering, Buddha is selfish. He leave his wife and son to be ordained. For this matter, if you learn from the story, you will see now that he himself consider himself like this, that it's just like when you are going to war, right, everyone? When you are going to war, if you're fighting alone, you know that the problem, situation, but there is none to go fighting the war at all. And that's when he found himself the way to end enlightenment, to end suffering and find enlightenment, earn himself Buddhahood. It's just like he had won the war. Now when he found himself liberation and freedom, he not only keep it to himself, he returned to his family. And this hopefully clear out his name or misunderstood about being selfish, leaving his wife alone. Why? Because when he come back, he know a way, and that he help his wife. Also, she has the eye of wisdom as well. And yes, later in the future, according to the scripture as well, after the Buddha accept woman to ordain in Buddhism, she too followed the step and ordained as the Buddhist monk, sometimes called Buddhist nun. I would rather call Buddhist monk as a woman monk, and thus enjoy herself the inner peace and liberation, and thus enter nirvana, follow the footstep of the Buddha as well. And that's how the story goes. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the Buddhist knowledge we learned today, and we will continue the last part, enlightenment and enter nirvana, or the passing of the Buddha, in the next episode. Stay tuned, everyone. See you again next time.